Hello Papercrafters! Welcome to another Design with Jo video. I'm Joanne Rogers, a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Central Alberta, Canada, and I've been designing with you in mind since 1999. Today I want to show you this really cool gift card holder. So I've used the True Gentleman paper to design this one, and it's made with one sheet of 4 1/4 by 11 cardstock, and I'll give you all the dimensions and measurements in just a minute. Inside you have a little pocket that you can put a gift card, or if you want to put a little bit of money or a folded up check, that will go in there, and it looks just like a card. This is everything that you're going to need to make the card. So today we're going to be stamping with Night of Navy ink. We're also going to use the Truly Tailored stamp set, and this is one for the guys. So it's in the Occasions catalog from 2018, and it's got some great sayings for birthday. You can use it for Father's Day, and it works for any kind of guy, whether they're a professional, more to a little bit more of an outdoorsy kind of person. So you'll find that you have all kinds of uses for that stamp set. We're going to use the Tailored Tag Punch. You're going to need a pencil, your bone folder, 2 scraps, just one of chocolate chip and very vanilla, and then our measurements for our cards. So our card is 4 1/4 by 11 long, and I'm using the Tranquil Tide, which coordinates with the designer paper. You need 2 pieces, one in designer paper, one in vanilla or white, whichever you prefer, in 4 1/2 by 4. 2 pieces of that. You're going to need 2 pieces that are 2 by 5 1/2 of the designer paper, and then you're going to need an envelope. And the biggest tool that we're going to use today is our Stampin' Trimmer, and we're going to use it for scoring as opposed to cutting. Okay, I've moved the things out of the way that we're not going to use. So we are going to start by scoring our large piece of paper. So again, this is 4 1/4 by 11, and it's Tranquil Tide. And what you need to do is score a diagonal line from one side all the way down to the other. So a long line. And to do that, in the Stampin' Trimmer there is a trough. And we're going to line up the point of one side with the diagonal point of the other. And actually, I'm going to put this way because I think you might be able to see it better. The point and the point are going to be in that trough, and you may need to line it up just a little bit. You're going to take your cutting tool out of the way, and you'll notice that I've written on mine, score and cut. So the cut is the darker one. Put that out of the way, and then we're just going to score a line all the way down that diagonal. And you can do it a couple times so that you have a really good score line. So I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to need the other ones, as we're going to need that again rather. But for now, what we're going to do, rather than normally I fold away from the score line, but for this project I'm actually going to fold into the score line. So I'm just going to go along where I've scored, grab my bone folder, and I'm going to burnish that really, really well. Now you have a card that looks like this, and we're going to take and we're going to line up 5 7/8, so almost at the 6. So I'm going to take that point and I'm going to put that right at the 5 7/6, and that should be right in the middle where these 2 pieces of paper are crossing each other. Hopefully you can see that, so maybe I'll point with my pencil. And I've got that right in the trough, so I know that I'm at the right area. And you are going to score that and give that a really good score. Okay, I'm going to pull that one out. Now you should be able to just fold that. And when you fold it, you'll find that there's a little bit of give. And you can see here there's a little bit of a gap here. So I hold on to it, and then I use my bone folder and I really burnish up those edges really, really well. I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing. Try and line up these points here. You can see they're just a little bit out of alignment right now. Put that in there. Okay, so there's our folded card. I'm going to set that aside and I'm going to work on the other pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the large pieces now. So these are 4 1/2 long and 4 across the top. So you are going to put those into your trimmer, and you're going to mark where the 2-inch mark is. So I've lined up So if I were to have this right along the trough, so just as if I just cut it, I'm going to use my 2 and I'm just going to give myself a tiny little tick mark right there. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. I'm going to pick the side that's a little bit lighter. So again, I've got 4.5 going this way and I've got 4 going this way, and I can see that I'm at the 4 right here. So I'm in alignment, and I'm just going to mark that little 2-inch again. Now what we're going to do is we're also going to cut this one. So we're done with our scoring blade. We're going to cut this one from that diagonal top right edge down to that 2-inch mark. So I take my 2-inch tick and put that into the trough, and I'm going to have my cutting, my point is going to be in the trough up there. And I'm just going to cut that. Okay, so you have 2 pieces like this, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with our vanilla. Okay, so there we have those. And then what you're going to do with your pieces that are 2 by 5.5 is you are just going to cut those diagonally. So I'm going to cut. So we're doing a lot of diagonal cutting on here, and this is where the Stampin' Trimmer really is a great tool, because you can line it up with that trough and you are going to just cut. So I pull down on that one. I've got 2 pieces there, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, line up your points, your edges with the trough. I like to pull actually mostly towards myself, so I've moved my cutting blade up top, and I've got, oh, and I missed that one, so I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to cut that again right at the top. And you should be able to do that fairly easily. Yes, and there you go. So these pieces here fit in to the fold. So you can see that this fits right in here. And then we're going to take one of these, and it will only fit one way. So if I wanted this paper, I needed to think about that before I actually cut them. Now I've come back and I've actually edited this part, because I found that when I started to put my pieces together onto my folded card, I only had glasses. And I really didn't want to have glasses on the inside and on the outside. So I missed a step to tell you, and what I'm going to do is do another one. So where we had the first one and we cut it like this. Okay, so there's our cut from the top right down to the bottom. I want to turn this one over, because these will not fit the same. They will only go one way. So it will only fit that way. If we turn it over, it will actually not fit. So we have to be a little smarter than our paper, and sometimes I'm not. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that diagonal cut, but I am doing it so that I have the other pattern facing me. So into the trough again with both tips. And we're going to cut down. Okay, and that's going to give me my what I'd like to see here. And I am going to put this card in first. Put this part of the card in first, and I'm just going to put my snail right along here. This will only go in one way, so I put it, align it with the side here, and what you'll notice is that it's not aligned here, but that doesn't matter, because we are going to cover that up, and you will not see the end here, and you will not see the bottom here. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue here as well. So I like to put my glue on the bottom as well as on the side and the top. That gives it a really good hold, because I don't want my card to be open on the front as well. Now I'm going to put glasses on the front, and I'm going to put the plaid on the inside. So the glasses fit this way, and I usually line up the bottom so that I have the same amount of distance to my cardstock, rather than trying to line it up here. And you'll see what I mean once I put it down. Okay, so I need a tiny bit of snail there. Okay, that's my front. And now I'm going to put my piece of plaid on the inside. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line it up with the bottom edge. Okay, Okay, so now we're going to do our inside piece, and it goes in the same way. So we are going to line it up along this edge, and I'm going to stamp my words along here. So I'm using my Night of Navy just along the outside edge, hoping your birthday is as grand as you are. And I'm going to glue that down as well. Fit it in. There we go. And then we don't need to glue anything in here because that's where we want our pocket to sit. So now we're going to work on the outside. I'm just going to stamp my diagonal, and I'm going to punch that out. Funny how I have to be looking at it right side up. Maybe you are too. So I'm going to center that in my tag punch. I'm going to cut one tag out of chocolate chip. And sorry, you are going to need a pair of scissors as well, because one of the things with the tag is we're going to cut it straight down the middle. And it doesn't have to be exactly straight. I'm just eyeballing it. And we're going to put some snail on the back. And we are going to line up that bottom piece. So the first one is a little easier than the second one. And then we are going to line up the top piece. And these will be flush with the left and right sides, and they will have a little bit of brown on the top and the bottom. Just going to line that just a little bit more. Okay, and give it a good stick together. My dimensionals. So make sure you use up your dimensionals. Cut them when you get around to the outside edges. You can see that I've done that there. And you can place this wherever you want. And I look at the bottom. So the bottom I know is straight. So I want this to line up with the bottom because you got a lot of different angles going on here. And then that's going to be straight. So the last thing we're going to do is just finish up our envelope. So we have a piece with the diagonal on it still. Give yourself a little bit of snail. Again, you can line that up with the bottom, however thick you want it. And there's your piece, and you're going to letter the front. Now I want to show you how to put this in the envelope, because normally we just open our envelope and in we tuck our card. However, this is longer than the envelope. You can probably see the point down here. So what I find to be easiest is to turn this upside down and start to just fish it into your envelope. And then you'll find that this part can go down and then this part will tuck in. So the top point goes right to the left side or the right side, depending which way you're going, and then it'll close just fine. This is a really cool project. I know you're going to have a lot of fun once you start playing with it. All the supplies that you need you can find in the description on the video. If you do like this project, please consider liking the video below and subscribing to my YouTube channel. Also, if you live in Canada and you don't yet have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your gal. Also, check out www.designwithjo.ca. I post regularly on my blog there, and I would love to have you join in. Thanks, and have a great day.